Hello and welcome to SciLux, the podcast where we talk about scientific developments and technological changes in Luxembourg. It's August right now. Many of you are on holidays, just leaving, have just come back, need to read all the news you've missed so far. Some of you are participating in conferences, in workshops, in symposia. I've seen a lot of pictures of you getting excited about posters and other interesting talks that you're participating in, or if you're not into science, practicing science as such, you might be just, chilling somewhere, as I said, on holidays. So you haven't had a chance to really check what was going on, and there has been a lot. And I do not mean, in this case, the discussion we've had about the tram coming to Bonnevoie, or maybe the fact, I think that was on the news today, on the day when I'm recording it, that the biggest number of new cars registered in the European Union is in Luxembourg. No, I do not mean that. I mean actually other things. And this is what I would like to share with you today. There won't be any special guest, no interview for you. So this is just going to be a summary of the recent developments and events in research and science and innovation. I guess what we have to start with is the news about government budget allocations for research and development for 2021. This was something I was really proud of, and we tweeted about it and we talked about it because Luxembourg is first in the European Union when it comes to the spending, the allocation that was decided upon, that was, done, let's say, by the government in 2021. We're talking about 689 euros per person in the year 2021. There has been an increase in the European Union, which is good news. There are some countries that have really changed, increased the budget. We're talking about Latvia and Greece, definitely more spending, but at the same time, it's nowhere near what Luxembourg spent last year. So I'm really happy to say that. And congratulations. I think this is really important. This is the right way to go. And I hope the government will still think this way for the years to come. On a different note, but also important, recently we got to know that the Administration du Cadastre de la Topographie has presented a new 3D official model of Luxembourg. Have you already checked it out? It's really, really cool. And it's also cool because it's open data. So for all your open data enthusiasts, you can really reuse that for different ideas, different developments. We also have special extract for BIM, modeling, rendering software for architects and engineers. There is also an STL file for those of you who do 3D printing, and you can also get some oblique images. I've been clicking through it for the last few days, and it's really, really enjoyable. Of course, a little bit slow because there's a lot to render. They also suggest somewhere not to use the trees option because that takes more time. But in general, even if you do have the trees or you don't have the trees, still great thing to discuss and to see. As usual, I will share the link to this piece of information in the show notes, just like the information from Eurostat about the spending on research and development. And last but not least, something about space this time when it comes to news, because I'm going to also share some important dates with you, but now just the news. I hope you've seen it, and if not, I definitely need to tell you about it. It's the news about Space Campus. So Luxembourg is going to have this special place, or actually two places, called Space Campus, where we will have the development of the public space research and also the companies. So there'll be two different places allocated for that. One in Kokoscheuer, and that's going to be the headquarters of the Luxembourg Space Agency. That will have some office space as well, shared technical infrastructure with some test center. for the companies and also incubator to host startups. So that's one in Cockelshire. And then we are talking about a different one, more for public research in Belval, of course. Or maybe I shouldn't say of course, but I guess that could be clear from how public research is developing in Luxembourg. And in this case, we're talking about a place near the Maison du Savoir in Belval, as I said, and this is going to be the place for S&T, so the Interdisciplinary Center for Security, Reliability and Trust, and also the headquarters of the European Space Resource Innovation Center. I'm going to tell you more about ESRIC very soon, because I will have a special guest. I'm not revealing who, but someone who will tell us more about ESRIC and their work in Luxembourg. What else to add? I guess the fact that all these centers, so those two centers creating together the Space Campus, will be operational in 2026. Yes, hopefully that will speed up the process of the development of the space infrastructure in Luxembourg even more, although it's already going very, very fast. And as you know, I'm always excited to tell you about that. Talking of ESRIC and talking of a space, I also have something for you who are thinking about having your own startup. There is a second call. So the first one was already in March. Now we're talking about a call that closes on the 25th of September. The call for so-called Startup Support Program by ESRIC, so the European Space Resources Innovation Center. We're talking about giving early-stage ventures and startups the opportunity to join the incubation program and get some funding. We're talking about those innovations, those startups that are dedicated to space resource utilization projects. So you will have the chance to get an amount up to 200,000 euros. The call is open to small and medium-sized enterprises, and those ones that have been incorporated for no longer than 5 years. As I said, this is something that has to be related to space resources utilization, but it can be a terrestrial and or space application. In the first phase of the project, you don't need to be based in Luxembourg. This comes for the second phase of the project, where the selected startups actually have to be registered and located in Luxembourg, also with the R&D part transferred here. As I mentioned before, the first startup call was closed in March 2022. We had 33 applications now, and this one, so the one that actually has an extended deadline, closes on the 25th of September. So please sign up if this is something that is interesting to you. As usual, I will also share a link to this program in the show notes. And before I actually move on to another important event, interesting event in my opinion, I just wanted to tell you that a lot of my previous guests on the show have been very busy. So I don't know if you remember Professor Thomas Covin, who was here talking about public history. He's published a textbook about public history, a textbook of practice. So if you want to see more, I'm going to share a link to this book for you to buy it. It's very interesting, so you should definitely check it out. We've also had the center where Professor Thomas Covin works, C2DH, celebrating 5 years of existence. Again, this time I will share a very funny video about the 5 years of the center, so do check it out, and congratulations to C2DH. Another scientist that we've had on the show, the researcher Dr. Ben Toy, recently published yet another paper on yet another group of brittle stars that he's discovered with some of his colleagues. So again, very, very busy, as I said. On top of it, one of our researchers, currently already Dr. Antonino Salmeri, has defended his PhD thesis. So you see, a lot going on. We are happy that all these people we've hosted here are going forward with the research, doing new things, and we're always happy to share. So if you are one of our previous guests and there is something you would like us to inform our listeners about, don't forget to tell us, don't forget to contact us, because we're always happy to say something about that. We're all supporting you, through the Research Luxembourg ideas and whatever else. So that's always good to share with others. When it comes to other things happening in Luxembourg, don't forget that on the 7th of September, there's going to be a special Forum Z event. Forum Z comes from Zeitgeschichte, so contemporary history if you want. And it's this kind of a platform, a public platform for critical and open discussion of current issues in contemporary Luxembourgish and European history. And this time Forum Z, organized by C2DH, is going to be about experimental media archaeology. So you can expect some magic lantern performance. There's going to be a Kinora motion picture viewer and a giant 3D printed exponential gramophone horn, as we can read on the website. Very interesting thing, you can expect something special, and that is coming on the 7th of September in Kulturfabrik. Again, I will share a link for those of you who are interested in this event. And as we are talking about appealing to you, some kind of call to action, there is also a call from Lizer. There is a new survey that they've just launched. It's a survey for Luxembourg employees. And the question is, are you happy with your commute and your work? So if you want to share your opinion, you might have received an invitation by post. If you have, or if you're just interested and want to share your opinion, even better, go to worksurvey.lizer.lu. I will also share this link in my show notes and participate. Tell Lizer about your experiences in the field of commuting and working. And I think that's very, very relevant in Luxembourg in general. So always good for the scientists to see what is happening and what we think about it. Then just to finish a little bit of PR for Silux. I don't know if you've had a chance to see that. We shared it in our social media channels. Our host, Hanna Siemaszko, so me, I've been interviewed by Jeff Simon for the Luxembourg Land, and that was an article called All You Can Speak in German, where we discussed multilingualism in Luxembourg, but more over the future of it and the role of English. There was also another person that talked about it with Jeff. That was Tom Clark, the host of The Breakfast Show on RSCT Radio. And we shared our different experiences and different ideas on where Luxembourg is going. That's, of course, our humble opinions. But if you get hold of that issue of Luxembourg Land, please read, share, and tell us what you think about that. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about English in Luxembourg as such? So yes, that's just yet another thing to tell you about, and everything else that is happening I'm going to share in another episode like this, where I just share the news or important developments in Luxembourg without interviewing any of my guests. So today there's not going to be any pub quiz question. I'm very sad to say so, because some of you might have expected it. But at the same time, quite a few different pieces of news that I wanted you to be aware of. So don't forget about the Forum Z that is happening soon in Kulturfabrik on the 7th of September. Don't forget about the ESRIC call for the startups that closes on the 25th of September. Don't forget to participate in the Lizer survey. Check out what is happening with the plan for the Space Campus. Of course, also check the 3D model of Luxembourg and tell others about how much Luxembourg spends on research and development, so that they see that we are on such an important path here and that the government recognizes that. Thank you very much for listening today. As usual, don't forget to subscribe or to follow us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, soon to come Instagram, I hope as well, and any other places. Contact us if you have any suggestions and participate in the discussions we're having with the science community. This was Silux, and my name is Hanna Siemaszko.